Hey guys, Ernie here, and welcome to the Paleo Hiker MD channel. For years, I have been a fan of the Trangia spirit burner. I've used it on tons and tons of videos. The only thing that stopped it from making it into any ultralight kits is the fact that it's fairly heavy. I've done several videos recently on the Evernew titanium stove, and it's very similar design, and I thought the next progression would be to go ahead and test it up against the Trangia. So stay tuned, and we're going to take a look at the Trangia versus the Evernew titanium stove. Thanks for watching. So here are our two stoves. Let's take a look first at the Trangia. This is the overall design. It's a very similar design to the other. It's a double-walled stove, okay? So it has fiberglass wicking on the inside between the inner part of the stove that you can see right there, okay? And then the outer. So there's basically a gap between the two walls that allows it to function as a stove. It has just these burner rings around the top here. It does not have any further burner rings along the side that the Evernew does. Big advantage that people see in this is two things. First of all, it has this screw on top and it has an O-ring you can see. So you can fill this with fuel, put the top on, and carry it around with fuel already in there. That's a big benefit. The other thing, of course, is the simmer ring. You're able to adjust the flame fairly easily by putting the simmer ring on. You can put it pretty much full bore, you can cut it down really, really low, and that gives you a lot of flexibility if you're simmering something and not just boiling water. So the dimensions are 2.85 inches this way and 1.75 or 1 3/4 inches tall. We'll do a quick weight. We're looking at 3 7/8 ounces or 111 grams. The cost is $14 to $15, and that is a look at the Trangia spirit burner. Now its competition is noticeably lighter. It's amazing how light it is. It is a very similar design. It does not have this distinctive lip here, which allows the Trangia to function with a lot of different stands. This one has more of a rolled over lip. It also is a double walled stove. It has wicking material on the inside similarly. You can see on the inside some markings, which is very nice. It has 30 and 60 milliliters as well as 1 or 2 fluid ounces of fuel. The dimensions are just a little bit smaller than the Trangia. It is 2.8 inches by 1.65 inches. It is made of titanium, so it's super lightweight. Let's weigh it. So weighing it, we're looking at 1 1/4 ounces or 35 grams. Let's get some water boiling and see which of these performs better. Okay, so we've got 1 ounce of heat in the yellow bottle here in our Trangia. We've got our water. It is sitting at 73 degrees. We're going to time this to see how long it takes to fully bloom, and then we're going to time how long it takes to get to a boil, and then how long it will burn after that. So we're going to get it started. Here we go. Pop this on here, start it. Let's see how long it takes to get to a full bloom. Just down here watching. Okay, we are at full bloom at 22 to 23 seconds. So 23 seconds to full bloom. Let's see how long it takes to get this to a boil. All right, here we go. We're getting close to 10 and boiling at 11 minutes 30 seconds. So we're still going strong on the flame, so let's see how long it burns for. Still going strong at about 14 minutes and 35 seconds. I did notice, and I'll tell you guys, that I did accidentally put in 1 1/2 ounces of fuel, not 1 ounce. So I'm not going to redo this, but it is 1 1/2 ounces of fuel instead of 1. Starting to really slow down here. All right, it's going just a little bit, but we're going to call that at 15 minutes and 15 minutes and 40 seconds. So 15 minutes, 40 seconds total burn time for the Trangia. Okay, so time for our Evernew titanium stove. We're going to use the same cross stand. Water is basically the same, 72 degrees. So we're going to do the same thing. We are going to light this up, see how long it takes for it to prime, and then also see how long it takes to boil and how long total it burns for. Like I said before, I did accidentally pour out 1 1/2 ounces of fuel on the first one, so I'm going to repeat that, obviously, 1 1/2 ounces of fuel with this one. Here's that. Put that on, start the timer. Let's see how long it takes to prime. All right, there we go, fully primed at 26 seconds. 26 seconds to full prime. Let's see how long it takes to get to a boil. Okay, we're getting close. Instead of complicating things, I'm just gonna use this same timer to time how long it burns. That's 210 right there. 211 at 10 minutes, 21 seconds. So we're gonna keep that going and see. Actually, take that back, it just went out at 10 minutes, 32 seconds, so barely made it through. 10 minutes, 32 seconds. Okay, so that is our results. Let's talk about them individually. First and foremost, like I said, I ended up using 1.5 ounces of fuel instead of 1. Just measured wrong, and I'm not shooting that over, so 1.5 ounces. The Trangia took 23 seconds to come to a bloom, and the Evernew took 26 seconds, so kind of a wash, not a big difference there. Then it gets really interesting because the Trangia takes longer to get the water to a boil, 11 minutes and 20 seconds or so, but the Evernew did it in about a minute less at 10 minutes 20 seconds. But the Trangia burned for way longer, over 15 minutes of total burn time, where the Evernew went out just as it got it to a boil, only lasted about 10-15 seconds more, about 10.5 minutes. So the Evernew burns hotter, but it is less efficient. In its design, you notice that the Evernew has 2 different rings of burners. And I think that because you're having more fuel come out through more burners, that's probably why it's burning the fuel faster. That said, it still got 2 cups of water to a boil, so it still worked. So which of these is better, and is the Evernew a reasonable alternative to the Trangia? Well, it all comes down to what you value more. If you're trying to create an ultralight kit, obviously the Evernew works very, very well. It is 1/3 of the weight of the Trangia and still functions pretty much the same. Mainly it has to do with what kind of cooking you're doing. If you're just doing boiling, you're boiling water to either make coffee or to make rehydrated meals, then you can use the Evernew just as well. The functionality of the simmer ring really doesn't play a role. Now, of course, if you're cooking with it where you need to simmer for an extended period of time, then the efficiency of the Trangia really shines, and the ability to use a simmer ring, which you don't have with the Evernew. Now, I really don't like storing fuel inside of my Trangia. I never have. I always burn it dry before I put it away. So that's something that doesn't really bother me as much because I always carry my fuel separately. Of course, if you want to be able to carry fuel inside of your stove, then it's a no-brainer. You got to use the Trangia. So will I use the Evernew instead of the Trangia? Very frequently, I will. If I'm trying to save weight, it's going to allow me to use a very similar stove, but about 1/3 of the weight. That's a pretty big deal. Now, we're not talking huge weights here, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the Evernew is tons better than the Trangia. I don't necessarily think that it is. I think they're very comparable. It's just about their strengths. One is much lighter, one has more versatility. What do you guys think? I'd love to hear from you. There's a lot of people out there who love the Trangia, me included. I will continue to use it. It's worked for me over the years without any problem, never fails. I have noticed that over time, when I use a Trangia more and more, it does seem to clog up a little bit and not burn as hot. And I'm wondering if that's not why it took longer for it to boil 2 cups of water. I might go ahead and try a newer Trangia that I have and see if it changes the outcome of the test. That said, this Trangia wasn't super old. It was probably a couple of years old, and I controlled the environment very well. And it is what it is. The Trangia took longer to get 2 cups of water to a boil, but it lasted a lot longer from the standpoint of efficiency. So that's a look at the Trangia versus the Evernew. I'm not really trying to say whether one is better than the other. We're just looking at them from the standpoint of comparison on these 3 main things. How long does it take to come to a bloom? How long does it take to get 2 cups of water to a boil? And how long does it burn for? On this case, 1.5 ounces of fuel instead of 1. Sorry. As always, guys, I appreciate you checking out the channel. I've had a lot of great videos here on stoves recently, and I've gotten a lot of good comments from you guys. I really appreciate it. Do me a favor, if you like the video, hit the thumbs up down below. It really helps spread things across YouTube, and that's what helps our channels grow. Make sure you hit the subscription button if you don't want to miss any of the videos, and if you want to be absolutely sure that our videos show up on your stream, hit that ding dong bell, and you'll be the first to know. Continues to be quite hot here in Louisiana, staying indoors for the most part, enjoying myself inside. As always, guys, I appreciate you checking out the Paleo Hiker MD channel. Stay tuned for more videos soon.